Hello everyone, been a while since the last Maxime Bernie video, and now seems a good time to review what has been happening. The most interesting shift in the political landscape is the rebranding of the Conservative Party from a party of the right to one that is more centrist. Scheer himself has been using the word more as of late to describe his party, and his latest pledge to balance the budget in 5 years instead of two certainly reinforces this trend. It will be interesting to see how it plays out. I think centrist describes the conservatives perfectly at this point. It allows them to promote policy objectives that are contradicting and constantly change their message depending on whatever vote they are trying to court that particular day. Typically, this has been the playbook of the Liberals. But with Trudeau, they seem to have taken a solid step left into what could be described as radicalism. John Robson from the National Post has described Trudeau as perhaps the first postmodernist leader in the Western world. I think this is a good assessment. I mean, if you look at Trudeau, I mean, he has this bizarre need to always bring up to every audience that he is a feminist, to correcting people on their usage of the word mankind instead of his more politically correct people kind, as well as focusing significant attention to every minority. It seems Trudeau is very different from his predecessors. So, yes, the centrist spot in Canadian politics is now open, it seems, and since the running joke in libertarian circles is that the Tories are the Liberals of 5 or 10 years ago, it seems right that Scheer should now occupy the centrist spot in Canadian politics. This is great news for Bernie and his party. They are essentially giving him the right and giving him a good chance to brand his party. Unfortunately, I feel Bernier is squandering this opportunity thus far. Since NAFTA wound down, there is no one real issue that Bernier has taken up. The only thing I remember from these last months is his Twitter feed, constantly bringing up immigration numbers and getting into petty fights with conservatives. The rumor is one of his advisors runs Bernier's Twitter feed, and I honestly believe it. I mean, the demeanor that Bernier takes on Twitter is, I mean, nothing like his live appearances. It's a total Jekyll and Hyde. So I don't know about you, but I'll be honest, I lose a little respect for a man that lets another man speak for him like that. So this is one screenshot of an issue he brought up on Twitter I disagree with. Apparently, Michelle Rampo likes to use the block feature on Twitter quite liberally, and it seems like Bernie believes she should not be allowed to do so, perhaps trying to capitalize on common public sentiment. Quite honestly, I don't get it. How did constituents ever get in touch with their MPs before Twitter? Like obviously, every MP I imagine has their own constituency office that people used to contact before Twitter, and that's how they got in touch with MPs. I don't get where people all of a sudden pluck this right that they have a right to read a politician's Twitter feed. That's private property. Twitter is a private company. I mean, do we want the government to go in there and manage the affairs of every single public company out there? I mean, that seems outrageous to me, especially for a guy that claims to be all about freedom and smaller government, like Bernier seems to claim. I thought Bernier was for smaller government, but here he is arguing the government should monitor which people, politicians, should be allowed to block on Twitter and who they can't. How many bureaucrats are you going to have to hire, to enforce this law you want to come up with? And then how many tribunals, for appeals are you going to set up to monitor just this one law? Seems incredibly inconsistent to me and smacks of pettiness towards his former party. But then again, this is probably not Bernier, but then, since he's letting this man run his Twitter, we have to assume that it's Maxime Bernier anyway, and that's his position. So very bizarre there. Others complained that there is no constitution for his party or more detailed policy in general. And I see where they are coming from. It's been several months, and looking at his webpage, it seems the policy section on his website is getting smaller, not bigger. So I really don't understand what Bernier has been doing these past few months. I think the best plan to keep the momentum he had going would have been to travel the country, giving speeches and hosting town halls. Also, having a book come out laying out clear positions would have been good. Uh, the chapter he leaked on his previous book on NAFTA was quite good. I thought that really gave him some solid bona fides uh, on his on what he says, because he's trying to brand himself as a honest, truth-telling politician. The truth hurts, but I'm gonna say it anyway. And that chapter was like he took a line that is against public opinion, but he backed it up with facts, good arguments. So it makes him look like the politician that would really set things right. And so I feel if he would have written another book and released it, I feel that would have been a boon to his efforts. Overall, I think Bernier is still the best choice of the main parties, and he does seem to be somewhat consistently polling above 1%. This means it's not a long shot to get to 5% of the vote and also get himself elected, which I think will be an incredible result for a new party in Canadian politics. This will give his party a solid foundation to work with for the election after the next. But it's undeniable that the spark he had when he first launched the party is kind of gone, at least for me anyway. But I'm interested to hear your thoughts. Are you still excited about his party? If you've lost some interest, what would it take you to get you more interested? Feel free to comment below. I love to read all your opinions, and I'll catch you next time.